Welcome to Fresh Talk News Channel. Today, we dive into a major political shift. California Governor Gavin Newsom, a prominent Democratic leader and potential White House contender, has made waves with his recent comments on transgender athletes in women's sports. His remarks signal a surprising departure from his party's typical stance, igniting debates across the political spectrum. In a candid conversation on his new podcast, This is Gavin Newsom, the governor described the inclusion of transgender athletes in women's sports as deeply unfair. This statement, coming from a longtime advocate for LGBTQ rights, marks a significant shift and highlights an emerging divide within the Democratic Party. Equally surprising was his choice of conversation partner, Charlie Kirk, the conservative influencer and founder of Turning Point USA. Known for his staunch right-wing views, Kirk is often a vocal critic of progressive policies. Yet, Newsom invited him for an 81-minute discussion, emphasizing the need to engage with opposing viewpoints. Newsom, once considered a fierce adversary of Donald Trump, has noticeably softened his tone toward the former president while becoming more critical of his own party's strategies. He dissected Vice President Kamala Harris's failed 2024 campaign, pinpointing key voter demographics where Democrats lost ground: young people, men, and Hispanic voters. Perhaps the most striking moment of the podcast was when Kirk directly asked Newsom whether he agreed that transgender women competing in female sports was unfair. Without hesitation, Newsom responded, "I completely agree with you. It's an issue of fairness." He even acknowledged the political impact of Trump's campaign ad targeting Harris's stance on gender identity, calling it devastating. This isn't the first time a Democrat has questioned the party's approach to transgender participation in sports. After the 2024 election, Representative Seth Moulton of Massachusetts voiced concerns over fairness in women's athletics, sparking backlash. A recent New York Times/Ipsos poll found that nearly 80% of Americans, including two-thirds of Democrats, oppose allowing transgender women to compete in female sports. The Biden administration and Democratic leaders have largely resisted Republican-led efforts to impose restrictions on transgender athletes. However, Newsom's remarks suggest a growing unease within the party about how to handle this politically charged issue. Some Democrats argue that sports organizations, not lawmakers, should decide eligibility criteria. Others, like California State Senator Scott Wiener, an openly gay Democrat, see Newsom's comments as a betrayal of LGBTQ rights. Newsom's history with LGBTQ advocacy is well documented. He officiated same-sex marriages before they were legal and signed laws protecting gender identity rights in schools. Yet, his willingness to question Democratic orthodoxy on transgender sports suggests he is positioning himself differently for a potential 2028 presidential run. Meanwhile, Donald Trump has aggressively pursued policies limiting transgender rights, from removing references to transgender people in federal LGBTQ policies to signing an executive order banning transgender women from competing in female sports. More than 24 states have since passed similar bans. Newsom's approach appears to be one of political recalibration, acknowledging the concerns of voters who feel alienated by progressive policies while maintaining his progressive credentials. His engagement with conservative figures like Kirk and his willingness to critique his own party suggest a strategic shift that could reshape the Democratic platform in the coming years. As the debate over transgender participation in sports continues, Newsom's remarks may prove to be a defining moment in the evolving landscape of American politics. Thanks for watching Fresh Talk News Channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more news and updates.